Hey, what's up guys, the Bromie here, and welcome back to another video. Today we're in a different area again. We seem to be moving all over the place, but today we're talking about exposure, how to get it right. Now there are three components to getting your exposure right: ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. So ISO is basically how sensitive your camera is to light. So basically, if you're in a super dark scenario, you would brighten up that ISO. Right now I'm filming at ISO 200. One of the main disadvantages of changing your ISO is it introduces something called noise. The more your ISO, the more noise is introduced. Noise is basically the color splotches that you get in high ISO footage. And it can really degrade the footage. So let's show you an ISO comparison. So this is ISO 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600, 3200, 6400, and 12800. Now as you can see, ISO really in the 12800 ISO, it looks really bad and it's pretty much not usable. Now there are some cameras that can go up to this ISO and have still pleasing footage, like some of the Sony cameras, and the new, I'm pretty sure the new GH5S can do this, can do low light better. But you could also see that we went from underexposed to being exposed properly, but we lost some of the fine details in the footage, and it just made the footage look terrible. Now another thing that affects your exposure is aperture. So this is basically how open or how closed your lens is. The lens I'm shooting on is an f3.5 to 5.6. This is a variable aperture lens, so basically as you zoom in, it closes down, it stops down the aperture, thus letting in less light as you zoom in. This also affects the depth of field. So this is a 55mm f5.6 shot. Now this is the same shot but at f30. Now this is the same shot but at f36. So you see that I have to bring up the ISO just to compensate for me closing down that lens. And you also saw, at least you should have seen, that everything was in focus. The mic, the background lights, everything at f36. So the last thing to setting the right exposure is shutter speed. I shoot at a constant shutter speed of 1/50th of a second. A common shutter speed for the frame rate I'm shooting at, which is 24 frames a second. People tend to double the frame rate and set that as their shutter speed for the video to make it look the most smooth. If this video was at 1/30th of a second, it would look almost too smooth, and if it was at say 1/100th of a second, that would look too choppy. If you're filming with LED light, setting your shutter speed right could be a problem because LED lights tend to flicker a lot, like mine. If you've seen my videos, you've seen the flicker, and it's really annoying. I don't know how to fix it. The only way for me to kind of fix it is setting the shutter speed to 1/30th of a second, and then you won't see it. But I don't really like 1/30th, I like 1/50th. So I had to deal with the flicker of the LED light, but that's fine. Everything looks fine. It doesn't really take away from the video in any way. So I'll show you some examples of shutter speed and the camera moving. So the first example is at 1/30th of a second at an aperture of f30. But you can see that you don't really see the LEDs flickering at 1/30th of a second because it's basically the sensor is open the whole time. But this is at 1/4000th of a second. The footage looks really choppy, and it's just it doesn't look as good. You can see the LEDs like going down in a linear path. So if you're working with LEDs and your shutter speed is set wrong, this could be a problem, because if you're shooting at a very high shutter speed, the LEDs could flicker and look fairly bad. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something today. If you did, press the like button, and if you didn't, you can press that other button too. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace.
Back that now. Come on now, back that now. Come on now, back that now. Come on now, back that now.